raced this track 1,000 times in a game. Let me drive it my way.
That was actually pretty great.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2023 video game adaptation, action, sports, drama, Gran Turismo. The film is directed by Neil Blomkamp, yes, that Neil Blomkamp from District 9, and it stars David Harbour, Orlando Bloom, Archie McAdway, and David Barnett. Now the film is based, I don't know how loosely, but it's based on the true life story of Jan Mardenborough, who several years ago, I think in the about 2011, something like that, he was one of the top Gran Turismo players, and he was given the opportunity to become a real life race driver. And this film is essentially based on his story. So when you see the tagline on this, Gran Turismo based on the unbelievable, inspiring, true story, you know, there is an element of truth to that. A lot of the times we see that and we're all instantly distrustful of that statement based on a true story. But this film is, in actual fact, true. Now, video game adaptations. This is an odd one, really, because, like I say, it's based on the popular Sony racing game, Gran Turismo, a game that I used to play all the time when I was young. I don't really bother with racing games so much these days. I don't have the patience for them. But when I was younger, me and my brother used to play Gran Turismo constantly on the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. They were the gold standard of racing games, and you could argue they still are. So I was quite interested how they were going to turn this into a movie. And when I initially, you know, became aware of this film, I was immediately like, that sounds garbage. It's just not going to be good. I don't know why. It just didn't seem like it was going to translate well into an interesting film. Well, I'm here to say I'm quite happy to eat a little bit of humble pie here. I really enjoyed myself with this film. It was really entertaining. I think the race sequences were done brilliantly. And it's like one of those great like underdog stories that you can get behind. Because it really does present this character of Jan, played by Archie McAdway, as a massive underdog. You know, nobody likes him. You know, a gamer getting in a race car and trying to get his racing license and then compete on the pro circuit. I mean, that he would be about as popular as a fart in a spacesuit in reality, and that film portrays that really well. The other drivers don't like him, even the people in the pit don't like him. So he's pretty much an isolated figure, and that really does present him as a huge underdog in this film. And we all love a good underdog story, and the film does that brilliantly. What I also think the film does really well is it makes you feel like, at times, you're watching the game. Now, again, if you've never played the game, you won't really understand what I'm saying here, but for those of you who have played Gran Turismo, do you remember when you'd finish your game and then you could watch the replay, and the replay was almost like, even back in the old PlayStation 1 and 2 days, the graphics were unbelievable, and you could just put down your controller and watch the replay, and it was fabulous. You could change the camera angles. And a lot of the races are structured like that. It's almost like you're watching like a replay of a Gran Turismo race. And there are other moments in the races where the camera is positioned in such a way, again, like the cameras are positioned in the game when you're racing the car. And it's just really clever stuff. They use all the sound effects from the game. So it does at times feel like you're watching a race in the video game, and it's very, very smart how they did that. They could have been all snobby about it and just kind of ignored that part of the game, but they've actually been very, very respectful to the game, and you get this feeling coming away from watching the film like, oh, I really want to play Gran Turismo. And that surely had to have been the aim from the game creators and the film itself. You know, not only are you going to come out of the film and enjoy the film, you're going to want to go and consume some more media, i.e. play the game Gran Turismo. And there is a fairly recent one just come on the market not too long ago. I thought David Harbour was excellent as Jake Salter, who plays like, I think he's a fictional character, but he plays like a failed ex-racing driver who becomes like the trainer and mentor to Jan in the film. Orlando Bloom plays Danny Moore, who is the guy that conceives the idea. I think it's based on the true character of this GT Academy, where the best gamers from around the world compete in this academy, and the winners of the academy then get the opportunity to be real racing drivers. So Orlando Bloom plays that guy. At times, you're not sure if he's the villain of the piece, because he does he's the usual slimy exec, I suppose, at times. For example, there's a scene in the film where one of the drivers is brilliant in front of the camera, is great at the interviews, he says all the right things, and he's very marketable. On the other side of the coin, you've got Jan, who is exactly the opposite. He's not very good in front of the cameras, he's not particularly marketable. So the Orlando Bloom character really wants this other guy to win. Matty, I believe he's called. He wants him to win so that he knows he can market him much better. However, he doesn't win the academy. And it's Jan, and there's a pivotal scene where he tries to convince David Harbour's character to say that it was Matty that won, because it was a very, very tight call. Obviously, David Harbour doesn't do that. So you kind of come away thinking, he's a bit of a slimeball, Orlando Bloom. I don't know if you never fully pull the trigger with the character of the Orlando Bloom's character, but it was an interesting idea and a character for him to play. So, I mean, it kind of gets everything right, this film. I mean, as a video adaptation, it's pretty good. You've got the training sequences, which are good. You've got the family dynamics, and interestingly, Jerry Horner plays Jan's mother, and if that name sounds familiar, maybe it doesn't. She used to be Ginger Spice in the Spice Girls. And so you get this family dynamics where you've got his father at home basically saying he's wasting his life on video games. So you've got that dynamic as well of him trying to win over certainly his father in regard to his life goals. So that pays off as well. You get that paying off nicely. There's a really serious crash. I mean, it's literally got everything. It's got the drama, it's got the action, the race sequences are good. You've got the personal issues with the character, with his father, the issues with the other drivers on the track. There's lots of that going off. And you've got this great bond between him and David Harbour throughout the film. He's got his back throughout. So ultimately what we get here, I think, is a nicely made video adaptation that doesn't feel like a video adaptation until it does, if that makes sense. So I think this one is one of the nicest surprises I've had this year. I didn't expect this one to be good. I'm happy to say I was wrong, and I hope you guys get the opportunity to check this one out as well. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll be back with more reviews and content on the channel very soon.